Alright, what's up guys? Today I've got a quick little video for you on doing the electric locker mod so you can use it somewhere other than four-wheel low and going slow. Okay, this is known as the gray wire mod, and that's great, except all harnesses aren't the same color, so at least to the best of my knowledge that's not always going to be the case if you have a 4Runner or one of these other rigs. So what I have found is they're pinned the same, the computers are. So what you want to do is dig out the ECU. If you don't know where your ECU is and you can't dig it out, you're not qualified for this job. But what goes on is you just pull out the kick panel. This ECU lives back up underneath here. Okay, so what you're going to do is pull out the pigtail. Then you're going to make sure you have the proper wiring diagram. This is really one of my pet peeves. If you're not a genius, don't mess with wires without the diagram. It's really annoying for people who have to go work on it later. Or when you burn the car down, it's super annoying for the customer. So basically what goes on with this is Tacoma. I have the Tacoma diagram. This particular one is the gray wire mod. Essentially what you're doing in this mod is you are tricking the locker computer into thinking it's in low. Basically all you're doing is providing a ground signal to the computer that is provided when you put the transfer case into low. Okay, so the other thing we're going to do while I'm here is we're going to pull the VSS signal. That's your vehicle speed sensor signal, and what that does is it allows the computer to not engage the locker at speed, I guess. And I've also been told that it will disengage your locker once you get up over a certain speed. So I don't know about you, but I don't need like any nannies in my rig or whatever, so I didn't talk about it, but the lockers that I've built in my truck, I used the factory harness, the factory computer, the factory button, but I used this other wiring diagram, and I can post a pic of it here just so you can see how this is wired without having to look at all the other stupid shit. Like if you want to standalone this is just going to be a standalone harness diagram for you. Okay, so check that out here real quick. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and verify that your pins match to your wiring diagram that you have. Okay, this is the gray wire. Okay, it talks to the four-wheel drive ECU, it talks to the computer brain, and essentially what goes on is once you go into 4 low, it connects this gray wire to a ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in here, we're just going to unpin that wire, heat shrink it, and then I'm going to add another wire back into the harness to a ground. Because if I just ground that wire, it's going to potentially mess with the computer and mess with the fuel because it's going to think you're in 4 low all the time. So we're just going to go ahead and skip that. If we just leave that wire open, it's not going to, you know, like I said, I'm going to heat shrink it. So the stick isn't going to do anything to this computer, and this computer is not going to have any effect on the real computer. And then you will be able to use your locker in 2-wheel drive. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull out the speed sensor wire. Basically, it's just sending your speedometer signal to the computer, and then the locker computer knows if you're going the appropriate speed or not to have the locker engaged. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that wire out and heat shrink it, and then I'm just going to splice that other wire. So here we go. So I know I've talked about this a little bit before. Special service tool. These are like some eyeglass screwdrivers or whatever, like 99 cents from Harbor Freight, maybe free on a good day. So you're going to get in here, and this plug has got a little lock in it. Pull this lock up. So you'll get it peeled up. It doesn't need to come all the way out, but you can see how that should look. It's got the little rise up here. Okay, so then you can get in here, and we've talked about this before a little bit. You just get in here and pry the little lever up, and then the wire will come out. So first wire we're going to pull out is this guy here. This is your orange and green speed sensor wire. So you just get up in here and under the edge of the terminal there, pry that lock up, and then it should come right out. Just like that. So there's that guy, and then your other guy is, so like I said, this one actually is gray. And we'll pull that one out. Alright, so now both of those wires are out. I have a spare pin. It's actually even the same color. We'll slide back into that hole that this one came out of. So again, you just put this little lock hole to the lock side, there. Now you can close that lock up. just like that. Okay. Can't shrink tube these together, obviously, that would be silly. Instead, we'll just put a length of shrink tube on here like this. All right, all you're trying to do is keep that from, not that this matters because it's just going to ground, but the speed signal actually does produce a little bit of voltage in there, and that will screw up your speedometer if it's grounding out on something. So we don't want that. Just a little quickie like that. Then this just lives right here. I'll just cut a length so we can ground it. Go like that. Toyota conveniently provides this little ground spot right here. Super handy, so we're just going to ground right here to the terminal, to the pillar ground. This isn't a ground, it's going to be a ground. Okay, well, that's pretty much that. I'm just going to turn these and tuck them back into themselves like this. And then we'll put that harness wrap back on that I took off. This guy right here. And get a little bit more tape and put it back on there. And then we can give it a test. Make sure we tuck our new wire in there. That is just really not spectacular. Let's see if it works. All right. So as you can see, none of the sticks are in low. This has got dual, so this is your front crawl box, and then your 2-4 high-low. So high, high. That's a wheel. Should be in 2-wheel. And then shebang. The other thing I'll mention here real quick is that other wiring diagram that I showed you before. Like I said, it's kind of short-handed the factory diagram, and what I ended up doing is where the indicator light that's on the dash here is, I wired it to the light in the switch. Okay, so I don't know, most of the ones I've seen in real life don't have any sort of like illumination, like they're supposed to light up with your lights, but typically they aren't wired, I've noticed. But the light is there. And so what you do is you just wire those wires that are the indicator that are supposed to go to the dash. You just wire it to the switch, so the light in the switch will blink, and then it will stay solid when you light it up. I'll show you these lights here real quick. I'll put them in the truck so while it's a little bit dimmer. That's just giving you the indicator flash that it's not in a position where it can lock. Let's see if this one will actually lock. Yeah. It's actually a really simple system. It's really easy to use. That stock wiring harness, or not necessarily the wiring harness, but the stock computer and the plug, just keeps everything looking really clean in factory. Yeah, so that is pretty much that. There is a quick little lesson on how to take one of the little nanny effects out of your truck. Other than the nanny effect, the benefit of doing this is sometimes it's nice to not have to use low to have a locker. You know, these trucks nowadays come with a limited slip. The limited slip never turns off. I understand why they did it, to keep people from breaking their shit, because obviously you don't want to be like in a one-wheel peel and then try to engage the locker. It will explode your locker. So that's why the speed limiter is there. Just don't be a dumbass about it. But you know, there's times where you want to be able to use it and run, you know, I don't know, I run higher than 40 like in the ice and stuff sometimes, so it's handy to have it if you need it. It's just annoying to have to go to low range for no reason, or to, you know, like, you want to be able to use your locker in high 4 too. So it's silly to not be able to use it in at least high 4 in these. So now we can use it in two wheel low, 4-wheel low, 4-wheel high, whatever you want to do it. So as always, hope you can take something away from this. I'm out here just trying to help you guys with some cheap tricks, trying to pass on some information that other people don't want to pass on, in a world that's full of information that no one can find. I don't understand that either. So anyway, if you can take something away from this, if you like my videos, please like, share, subscribe. Peace.
That wraps up another episode of Snale Racing.
Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe.